I I almost fell asleep during this movie, and I hardly ever do that during a new release at the big screen at the theaters. That's uh, that's when you know it's bad. And I had enough sleep yesterday as well. Now, I never really was a big fan of Jurassic Park. That's not the main reason why I didn't like this movie, though. I'll get to that soon. But I just never really grew up with the original movies, simply because the first movie, which is arguably the best in the trilogy, came out before I was even born. Now, I do remember watching them a little bit as a kid, but they never really captivated me all that much, even though I really liked dinosaurs as a kid. And I don't know why that's the case. Maybe because I was just too young and it was kind of horrifying to watch as a kid. Now recently I just rewatched them and they still didn't captivate me all that much, but that's probably only because I've been spoiled by the movies that are being made today. But I am sure though, people who grew up with Jurassic Park, especially the first movie, might say that they were really good for their time. Obviously, I can't say that. But I can say that Jurassic World was pretty fun when that got released in more recent years, which truly gave us a lot of the suspense and epicness from a dinosaur movie, and the visual effects were way better than the original for obvious reasons, and I loved the extra variety in dinosaurs. That island escape sequence in Fallen Kingdom was probably one of the best and most memorable sequences within the Jurassic Park/World movies that I have seen. Though admittedly, that movie really goes downhill from there as it goes down a different path compared to the original Jurassic Park movies and doesn't finish in the epic style that the first Jurassic World movie did. But I remember very clearly, so clearly, watching the end of Fallen Kingdom, where it made me look very forward to the next movie in the series from that post-credits scene. And now, fast forward 4 years later, and Jurassic World Dominion has finally released. With delay due to COVID, of course, for obvious reasons. And it blows. This movie is set 4 years after the events of the previous film, where humans and dinosaurs are forced to coexist together after the destruction of Isla Nublar. And well, if you know what happens in the second half of Fallen Kingdom, then you will know how this series just goes in a direction that is just so different to what the Jurassic Park movies and the first Jurassic World movies were about. And this movie is no exception. In fact, it enhances this thought. Dominion takes the whole Jurassic Park and World series from a dinosaur movie into an action-packed spy thriller, and dinosaurs are almost like an afterthought. So if you're like me and really enjoyed the adventures on Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna, then this movie might be pretty underwhelming because it's just so different. Don't get me wrong, there are still dinosaurs and there are still scenes that are suspenseful and slightly awesome to watch, yada yada yada, but I mean it's nothing we haven't seen before, and honestly there's even less of that. In the Jurassic Park movies and the first two Jurassic World movies, what were the main threats? If I'm not mistaken, they were the dinosaurs, right? I mean, that's what most of us have come to see, right? Well, in this movie, the main threats are the humans. The human threats used to be so small, but in this one it's so huge, and there are really no worthwhile dino threats to talk about. We got Tim Cook cooking up some masterful plan that I didn't give two shits about, and that's the thing I really asked myself throughout the whole of this movie, you know, the whole way through. Why should I care? This movie just really failed to make me care for the story, for the characters, and for the human threats. Now, some people might think otherwise. There might be people who don't mind that this movie is like an action-packed spy thriller because it is different, and some people might enjoy the way that it's turned out. And I feel like this movie will probably appeal more to those who grew up with Jurassic Park and have a strong connection with those films because, you know, the original cast members are back. I am not one of those people though. This movie was just a mess. It was exhausting to watch. I almost dozed off multiple times throughout this movie, and like I said, I did sleep well last night, mind you. That was just too much story and too many characters and not enough blood. I don't know what I was expecting though. Dinosaurs aren't really that interesting anymore, and with the way this series was going, which started from the second half of Fallen Kingdom, I felt like there was no way it was going to be as good as the first Jurassic World movie, and some might also say to the original movies as well. This is a classic case of the magic is dying. You know, so some series, they get better over time. This is not one of them. And I guess what also made me like the first Jurassic World movie and the first half of Fallen Kingdom so much was how beautiful it all looked. Seeing those lush green jungles and the tropical habitats. Dominion, on the other hand, could have had a chance to look almost as good, but even all the environments looked bland. Like, we could have seen dinosaurs wreak havoc on the Vegas Strip or something like that, but we just didn't get that. But the main reason why is because this movie is set 4 years after the events of the previous film. 4 years! That's a long time, and so, you know, I guess all the exciting things already happened long before the events of this film, which is what happened when the dinosaurs escaped for the first time. We do kind of get a glimmer of that in the Battle at Big Rock short movie, and that was really good, surprisingly emotional too. Unlike this movie, it's funny how a short 10 minutes movie could be more emotional than a 2.5 hour marathon. But I guess I wanted more of that in Dominion, but we didn't quite get that. It just feels like they skipped past that really fast in this movie. So yeah, I don't think I felt so strongly against the movie since probably last year when Black Widow came out. I was just honestly crying for this movie to end. It was dull, but I think the main reason why I didn't enjoy this movie was because it was nothing new. It was just a bore to watch. Like I said, I nearly fell asleep, and I was this close to. Now, normally when a movie comes out, you know, I get to the theaters tired because I did some stuff beforehand, and when the lights, you know, when the lights come off, it just puts me in a sleepy mood. But over time, if the movie is good, it wakes me up, right? This was one of those rare occasions where this was not the case. I think what would have made this movie better is if they went back to Isla Sorna or another new crazy ass island, because I feel like what would have made it better, since, you know, they brought back the original cast members, it was to relate to more, or I guess just have the feeling of the original movies in a way. I'm going to give Jurassic World Dominion a C-. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below, like and sub if you enjoyed. And as always, feel free to check out any of my previous videos. Until next time.